value. Today we will talk about the project management framework. At the completion of this module, you should be able to identify key terms and concepts, identify project management challenges. In particular, you should know the triple constraint: time, cost, and scope. Recognize skills of the effective project manager. And you also need to understand organizational influences. We will make you familiar with the various organizational structures. Some of the key definitions. What is a project? A project is a unique endeavor, a temporary and unique endeavor, undertaken to create a unique product, service, or result. Now, a project could be broken down into sub-projects. So if you have a large project, such as the creation of the new airline, which is going to seat 600 passengers, that is a multi-year, multi-million-dollar project. You may want to break that down into sub-projects. Boeing or Airbus may need to break that down into sub-projects. So a sub-project is a more manageable component of a project. Okay? And sub-projects are sometimes contracted out to an external enterprise or to another unit within the organization. Moving on, a program. What is a program? A program is a group of related projects managed in a coordinated way. So in a lot of large organizations, you will have program managers. Program managers are managing a suite of projects that have some conformity to a particular business goal. Some other key definitions. Knowledge area. The Project Management Institute identifies 9 key knowledge areas, and we will be talking about those today. They include things like integration management, communication management, human resources management, quality management, cost management, configuration management, and many others. Portfolio. What is a portfolio? A portfolio is a collection of programs, projects, and additional work managed together to help achieve business goals. Again, the key word here is business goals. So a portfolio is not just a collection of programs and projects, not just a bunch of work done just for the sake of it. They're done with a specific business goal in mind. Okay, there has to be value delivered at the end of the day. Now, all these slides, all these definitions are in the Learn Center, so you can review all of these at your leisure online when you have the time. Project life cycle. Project life cycle, again, is a collection of the various phases that make up a project. The many cycles we'll go through, we'll talk about these. There are stages, there are phases, there are gates, there are milestones that we will be covering. A product life cycle, in contrast, is the life cycle, the collection of stages that make up the life of a product. So, for example, a product such as, let's say, a new Coke flavored drink that comes out by the Coca-Cola company. They may come up with a new flavor. That product will have a life cycle. It will go through initiation, maturity, and then decline. That's different than a project life cycle, and we'll be covering the difference between that in detail. Moving on, a project management office. Sometimes in some companies this is known as a program management office. In other places it's known as a portfolio management office, a PMO. This has picked up a lot of steam in the last few years in the United States after the Sarbanes-Oxley Act, for example. A lot of organizations implemented a PMO to make more efficient audit and control of projects, particularly those that involve financial transactions. Again, a PMO is an organizational unit formed to centralize and coordinate the management of projects within its domain. Again, that last piece is key. Within its domain. PMOs are sometimes established at the main C-level of the organization, meaning at the CEO level, so then they cater to every strategic business unit. In other organizations, a PMO is within a particular SBU. SBU being Strategic Business Unit. So then the domain of that PMO is only that specific Strategic Business Unit. Okay, so what is a project manager? The Project Management Institute's Project Management Book of Knowledge, the PMBOK, says that the project manager is the individual responsible for the project, period. At the end of the day, who is responsible for the effective and successful delivery of the project? The project manager. Other stakeholders are involved in the project and have some accountability and some responsibility, but it is the project manager who is responsible at the end of the day for the project. What is project management? Again, the Project Management Institute identifies project management as the application. So it is an action term. Project management is an activity. It is the application of knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques to activities to meet project requirements. Again, the goal here is to meet project requirements. You don't just go out and do work in a haphazard manner. There are specific project requirements that are established at the beginning, and then project management is a proper management of that. There's planning, there's initiation, there's planning, there's execution, there's monitoring and controlling, and then finally you close the project. Okay, now organizations, they perform work. All organizations are doing work. Resources within an organization are performing work. There are of two kinds. Work is either operation-oriented or project-oriented. What's the difference between that? First of all, let's cover the similarities, actually. Operations and projects share many characteristics. They both are performed by people, by resources. They're constrained by limited resources. A call center for Citibank credit cards doesn't have an unlimited number of resources available 24/7. There's a certain number of call center operators who are available to answer calls. There's only so much the Citibank does a cost-benefit analysis and figures out that beyond X number of operators, it is not worth them staffing higher than that. Again, operations and projects are both planned, executed, and controlled. Now, back to how they differ. This gets interesting. Operations are really something that sustain the business. So again, back to that call center example. Operations are what keeps that 24/7 call center running. There's an operations director perhaps in place. There's a compliance director in place making sure that the calls meet certain average handling time, that compliance laws are being met, folks are giving the right information, the accurate information. That's regular, ongoing, repetitive work. Okay? Projects, on the other hand, if we go back to the original definition that I shared with you, they are temporary and unique. A project is a temporary and unique endeavor. Okay? And the objective there is to attain the project objectives and then terminate. For operations is different. You're sustaining the business here. All right? But with a project, you're meeting the project objectives and then you terminate. The project terminates. The project has to have an end to its life cycle. That may not always happen in organizations, but that is the way it should be. Okay, what are the objectives of projects? Some of the most common reasons that organizations, be they corporations, for-profit, not-for-profit, small mom and pop shops, universities like ours, that they take on projects are to create change. As they say, the only constant in life is change, and that applies to all organizations as well. It is to implement some specific strategic plans. Again, the C-suite, the CEO, the CFO, the CIO, the CTO, they all may come up with a strategic direction. Steering committee of senior leadership, the board, may make a decision, a critical strategic decision to enter a new market. with globalization taking place. They may implement some new strategic direction to go and approach new international markets. All those things may require